And action. Welcome to another jam-packed episode here. And the crazy part is we actually just did one, but we're still already, there's just a ton of movies coming out. It's
Tons.
blockbuster season. Plus you had streaming. And so, yeah, we still have a pretty decent list here. We'll try and pump through them. But the number one movie we're going to talk about is Ballerina from the world of John Wick. Second, we're going to talk about the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. Uh, Third, we're going to talk about the Materialists. Uh, Fourth, we're going to do 28 Years Later, which is the sequel to 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. Uh, I don't even know what number that is now. One, two, three, four, five?
Five. Yeah, I
Five,
mean,
yeah.
we're burning through a ton.
Five is The Unholy Trinity. That's a Western movie starring Pierce Brosnan, Samuel L. Jackson.
Sammy.
Then,
Sammy.
yeah, then Life of Chuck. We have Echo Valley, which is on Apple TV Plus now. Final Destination Bloodlines, Deep Cover, which is on Amazon Prime now, and Mountainhead, which is also on Amazon Prime. So with that, Pete,
Ooh,
this was one of our top movies, anticipated movies of the year coming in. I believe it made both of our lists top five, I want to say, or maybe it was five for me. I don't remember.
it
But
was on there for
yeah,
me. So,
Valerie John Wick. Oh yeah, let me run through some numbers real quick since we
go
have
on.
some data on this movie now.
I love data.
But the stars Ana de Armas, Keanu Reeves, it comes back, Ian McShane. This has a 7.2 on IMDb, and which is that's a solid number.
Solid number.
And the budget was 90 million. It's grossed worldwide 102, which I would say worldwide it seems a little low. But it's basically done half the money here in the US, half the money
Darn it. I mean,
over.
that's upsetting
Yeah,
because I'm such a John Wick fan in terms of just the whole IP itself. I just love it. I loved how they started, and then I loved how they just continued to build this world. Now, of course, with that, there's always the concern that the more you build something, the less important certain stories are going to be. But I didn't really feel that in this case. I thought that this was a great um, offshoot of the John Wick original series that the four movies that were put out. I thought Anna de Armas did great. You know, my girlfriend really stepped up for this role and did a good job. I thought she was very believable. Um,
yeah.
I love
What I liked about what they did with her is she's not a big person,
no.
and they never try to skew the physics of that. So, throughout the movie, she gets tossed around a ton. She's not uh she's not averse to pain. So, I mean, they really leaned into the fact that she's not big, and bigger, stronger people can easily beat her. So she has to actually figure out different ways to defeat people, which,
And you saw that in several of the sequences early on.
yeah,
It was clear that she was not this overpowering force that we've seen in Keanu Reeves
yeah,
throughout this series. But it was also nice to see Norman Reedus something outside of Walking Dead because I thought that his role was really quite good in
yeah.
this movie. Um, I the one thing that stuck with me with this movie was when she first meets John Wick, which I got really confused at the beginning. I thought that John Wick was the dad, like for like 2 seconds, like because the
Oh,
guy that played her dad had that sort of Keanu Reeves sort of look to him.
sure, sure, yeah,
And so I went like the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the movie, like, oh, yeah, yeah, okay, that makes sense. She's the daughter of John Wick and blah, blah, blah. Like in my mind, I constructed this whole other world and this whole other storyline. But then when she finally meets John Wick and he's like telling her to like leave, and she's like, well, why didn't you leave? I thought he answered the question perfectly. He's like, I'm working on it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's like that encapsulates every single John Wick movie. Like he's just doing everything he can just to get the fuck out and just can't seem to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
at all. It was the perfect answer to that question. And then I actually quite enjoyed his involvement in the movie itself. I didn't think that they overused him. I didn't
Yeah,
think they underused him either. I thought it was really well placed.
I agree.
I just think this is a great addition to this John Wick franchise, and
Yeah, I
I look
agree.
forward to more.
And what I the other thing I like most about it, I thought the beginning was like I said, good setup with her. And then you get into kind of the fighting, and then like towards the middle, I'm just like, all right, like this needs to like step it up another notch. And then
Right.
it actually does. And that's always good to see when you can still take your game to another level. I mean, this was like playoff, you know, playoff basketball type of performance. And the ending, the second the latter part of the second act, with the blow torches and all that stuff, like it just got crazy and good, and really had me at the edge of the seat towards the end. So
But what
I'm
they didn't
all in
do
on it.
is, whenever you try to do a sequel, like there's always an escalation in performance
Yeah,
and weapons and stunts and settings. Like they always try to, go overboard. And I felt like at times you thought that they were going to go overboard with stuff, but they didn't. They kept it nice and tight and they
yeah.
kept it believable throughout. So
It was all practical. That's the main thing, is a lot of it's still practical. That's the
that's
been
the world
the
of John Wick. They do
yeah,
everything practical. Like
yeah.
if you have six shots in a gun, that's all you've got in that shot, and
Yep.
then you better go find another gun real fast and
Yep.
reload. Anyways,
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it looks like a two thumbs up for both of us. So definitely check it out, people. Again, you're into
so
the John
good.
Wick world. I think this movie fits right in. So, all right, next we have How to Train Your Dragon. This is a again live action remake. Probably a lot of concerns going into this for many people. Live action remakes have been very polarizing as of late. However, Pete, this
Negative
has
way.
an 8.1 on IMDb.
Mm,
And let's see, money wise, I know it's doing well money wise.
great
This
cat.
budget 150 and gross has already grossed 371 million. So this is DreamWorks' first live action remake. And I'll start with this one and then you go because I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I only have a few thoughts on it.
yeah. So what this movie did right. This is the original writer. And he is now also directing. This is his first live action thing. Um, with the casting, Gerard Butler was the original voice. He is the main, he's his own character again. I believe a lot of the characters' voices they played the actors in this. But I think where this movie really, 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 really shined was they wanted to still be true to the source material. However, they wanted to make it for a more adult audience. And so, that I think was a real key thing going into it. And then again, securing the main writer, and he was like, I don't want anybody else to touch this material. This is my material. I'm the one that's gonna be able to tackle this. And so while it's still true to the original one, I didn't 100% remember the regular one. I remember liking it and thought it was good, but I thought this movie was 10 times better than the original because it felt different. It didn't feel like you're just watching a, you know, move for move, act for act, shot for shot. I mean, the flying sequences, the acting, um,
Which were stunning. I mean, and that's the
yeah,
thing. The original is that, that movie became what it's become, and there's been multiple sequels and multiple series on TV created because of that original movie. Was the storytelling of it. It was a great story.
yeah,
However, with like one of the best things about this remake, and Disney should take note about remaking, old cartoons,
yeah,
I think DreamWorks did it right. They they put you into a space where when it's live action, you just feel it more. And so
yeah,
like those sequences where you're flying around on the dragon, and even the training sequences with the kids, when they're up against the different dragons of it, that you are immersed in
yeah,
this world and you feel it, and you're completely engaged.
yeah,
Forget about all of that other stuff. I mean, the acting in this movie is fantastic. I
Yeah,
mean, this kid who
that was
played
emotional.
he was so good.
Yeah,
Uh, I just loved it.
yeah, same here. Again, blown away. This is definitely one of the best movies I think of the year.
What was his name?
Um,
Mason Thames
yeah, Mason Thames.
was so good.
But this again, it's so well executed. I don't know if he could have done a better. The director couldn't have done, or writer too, couldn't have done a better job. This is again, I think this is maybe the greatest remake of all time, animation wise. It is
Trying to figure out where I know this girl who plays the girl.
Nico Parker.
Yeah,
She's Sandy Newton's daughter,
but what
and
was she?
then she was in the Florida movie. Um, and then
Oh, Suncoast.
yeah, Suncoast, and then she was
You
just
love Suncoast.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
That's
she's in
where she's
something else because we just brought her
from.
up again. Obviously a budding star. Obviously, her mom's a stud as well. So
Oh, she's so good. I
yeah,
love
she was
her.
excellent in this movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
she was really good. She was tough as nails and
yeah,
but super sweet at the same time. She's a beautiful girl.
but she fit the part too. She didn't. It didn't seem like they were.
Oh, it wasn't pushed at all.
Yeah, like she like you're saying, she was executing all the moves. It was believable. Yeah, I thought she did a fantastic job.
No, she's
She
great.
really carried the movie, to be honest. I mean, Mason Thames was excellent, but
Outside
he's
Mason,
not a
yeah.
strong character in this, so she needs to be. So yeah,
No, she
great.
stepped up for this role in a big way.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have the Materialists, and this was. It's not really a romantic comedy because it's not really funny, but it's definitely a romantic movie. They say romantic comedy. I don't remember laughing a ton, but not saying it's not. It's an interesting movie. I don't
I
think.
don't remember laughing at all.
Yeah, I don't remember it being funny really. This does have a 6.8 IMDb. This was written directed by Celine Song. She did Past Lives, which was an Oscar nominee. And so this was another kind of real driving force. 69 Metascore, and then money budget 20, gross 31. So,
Well done.
decent.
Well
Um,
done.
and so this is, Celine Song's follow-up, and so I was curious on to see. Obviously, a lot of great actors. Pedro Pascal is, a real it guy right now. Chris Evans is obviously doing a good job after being Captain America of kind of reinventing himself. And
And
then,
avoiding being typecasted. He's
yeah,
done a
exactly.
great job of really kind of diversifying his roles.
Yeah. And then you have Dakota Johnson, who um, is definitely a star, but is polarizing, to say the least. And I think, there are fans of hers, and then there are people that just don't like her, as we saw with Madam Web, which, I think
Knock on that movie all you want, but that movie made a ton of cash.
it made it off of streaming, not because of it crushed on Netflix, but.
Sure.
But again, it was because the critics just smashed it for deservedly, but it wasn't as bad as a movie, I think, as everybody thought. And there's a lot of motions. Anyways, well, I need to go back on to Madam Web here. But anyway, so this is going to be an interesting movie to see, you know, how this was all going to play out. And like I said, this was an interesting take on a romantic movie. She's kind of it's almost like Hitch without the
Yeah.
humor.
She's a matchmaker.
Yeah, she's a matchmaker, but then has her own issues. But it's a really interesting looking relationships. I thought I overall I was entertained. I don't think this movie is going to be for everybody. I think um, because of the topic in terms of dating or like being in relationships or wanting certain things in relationship, I think that part I don't think is universal. Like everyone's just going to love this movie. But I think if you're open to be entertained on the subject, I think you'll like this movie. But I understand there's a lot of people that may not like this movie. It's not terribly paced. I thought it was okay paced. I thought it moved decently. It was interesting, but it was just
It's a good idea.
yeah, it was a good idea. But yeah, I think like I said, I think this might do really well in streaming.
There
Did
you
you have
go.
anything else to add or no?
No,
All right.
got nothing to add to that movie.
Yeah. Like I said, I think with streaming, because it's kind of at the end of its theatrical run, I think this is a movie that could like hit the top 10 lists when it comes out on streaming. Like, I don't know. I feel like this movie could have
Might get a second life.
yeah, it might get a second life. And I think it might be more people might stomach it more for streaming. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. All right, next we have 28 years later. This is the sequel. Danny Boyle directed the original. Alex Garland was the writer, and let's see what the
7.2 on IMDb. This is a very highly rated and reviewed movie.
yeah. You got Jodie Comer in this one, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ralph Fiennes, uh, and then let's see, budget wise,
Yeah,
this
but the real star of this movie is Spike, the kid, Alfie Williams.
yeah.
This kid, I mean, what an incredible job. I'm gonna go first on this one because I just finished it and
Yeah,
it's
let me just give one
it,
quick number real quick and then you
go
can
on, go on.
so this had a budget of 60 million. So far it's grossed 66 million. So, yeah,
It just came out.
came out last week, yeah.
Was it last week?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it'll have a little bit more run. Maybe
Listen,
worldwide it might get a little bit more.
what they've done with this film is, 28 days later, and then which was a masterpiece, right? And that's Cillian Murphy in one of his earliest roles. And then they came out with 28 weeks later, and that one really wasn't that good. But then the director and the writer they decided to sort of figure out what would life be like 28 years after that first movie happened, and they I thought that they crushed this film. The setting that they put these people in, the circumstances in which they had to sort of venture out and come back in. I thought everything really played out perfectly. I thought the performances were really well done as well. Now, there are a few moments, and not many, which is actually good. I think it works in the favor. There's not a ton of like zombie virus, you know, moments where, these people are being attacked by a bunch. There's plenty of it, but it doesn't overpower it. It's not, it's more about the story. And I think what they've done here is they've set it up for, and how they finish this film. This is going to be a continuing franchise. They're going to continue on with this. And I think if they're smart, they're going to grab onto this Spike kid and sign him to like a three-picture deal and just revolve the next three movies around his character and the character's growth.
Yeah.
Because they built him up and set him up in such a way. And I thought he performed it so well. Like being a 12-year-old kid who doesn't know anything to all of a sudden having to fend for himself. And then he goes through a bunch of things and now we're at the end of the movie and he's got to be an adult. I mean, talk about a coming of age. It's not even coming of age. It's you now have to be an adult. There's no way around it. And I thought it was really well done, and he was awesome. I didn't even realize it was Ralph Fiennes, to be honest, the doctor. Um, but he was a great character as well.
Yeah.
This is a great movie. You should go see it because there's going to be a bunch more, and you don't want to have to go back and like revisit it later on when you got to see number two.
Yeah, I'm starting to watch 28 days later myself.
That's
Uh,
so good.
yeah.
But
Well,
again, it's very heavy virus zombie focused, right?
yeah.
This one's about story, and that's
Yeah.
what I love about it. It's so
Yeah.
good.
All right. Next we have The Unholy Trinity. This has a 6.1 on IMDb. Stars Pierce Brosnan, Samuel Jackson, Brandon Lessard, directed by Richard Gray, written by Lee Zachariah. I'll let you go first on this one, Pete, and then I'll go.
Go ahead. Oh, you're letting me go first?
Oh, or do you want me to go first?
No, 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 it's fine. I can go first. You're the one who introduced this movie to me. I had no idea that this movie was even in existence, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I was so happy that you told me about it. I think you and Dad went and saw it together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, what a cast. I mean, Pierce Brosnan, Samuel Jackson. You get a little bit of David Arquette, who is normally kind of considered a really goofy sort of actor, but I
Yeah.
thought he really did a great job.
Yeah.
Tim Daly from Wings, back in the day, from that series Wings, he's
Yeah.
in it for like, the first part. I wish we saw more of his character because it was such a different Tim Daly than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And all I got was about 4 minutes of screen time of
Yeah.
him. And I wanted more. He really did well. If there's like some producers out there that are looking for a great leading Western actor, I
Yeah.
would I would hire Tim Daly today.
Yeah.
Um, this movie is, we follow this kid who Tim Daly's the dad. He gets hung and he's going to go seek revenge to the sheriff of this town. The sheriff, he thinks, is Pierce Brosnan, but he happens to be the sheriff prior.
Because
And,
Tim Daly says he's framed, by the way. So that's why.
right, right. And Samuel Jackson's character is in there without giving up too much of the story. Like we're not really sure. Is he a good guy? Is he a villain? Like he really kind of plays that line pretty well.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a band of people that want to go and, you know, um, what's it called when you lynch mob?
Finch. Yeah.
There's like a whole lynch mob sequence, but it like most Westerns, this doesn't like expand and take place over like this massive period of time in different settings and stuff like that. It's
No,
all really much in one setting
it's like one
around
week.
one specific theme, and it's really done well. And
Yeah.
and I enjoyed every second of
A lot
this
of
movie.
connections. Everybody's kind of tied.
So good. It was
Yeah.
really well written and performed.
And
One of my
crafted.
favorite Westerns I think I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I thought this was really well crafted. So the music, was noticeable and good. The editing, the cinematography, like this wasn't this is an A Western. Like, sometimes when you watch these Westerns, you're not sure if they're going to be a pure genre one but I thought this was, again, obviously like Tombstone is the mecca when it comes to A-level production westerns. But I mean, I thought this was on par with a 310 Yuma. I don't think it's quite as good as 310 Yuma, only
Oh,
because
but
of
it's
the
close.
only because of the manpower. But I thought, like you're saying, this was a really good, interesting western. I would definitely see this again. I could watch this movie over and over again. I mean, this was a good western, and
Samuel Jackson so nice and sinister at the same time in this movie. Like
Samuel
he
Jackson was hilarious in this movie.
was funny, but man, there were a couple of the characters in this movie, some of the smaller characters, like they're just such assholes
Yeah,
and they get what's coming to them. But man, they really did those roles
yeah,
perfectly. This is another one of those movies that you and I always talk about with comedies. Like if your B characters are solid, you've got
yeah.
a solid movie. And I thought every B character in this movie performed at like the top level.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I'd almost compare it to like an open range. Um, I think it's on par with that. Like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. This movie, and it was paced well. I thought it was paced really well,
It's
and
really fun.
yeah. All right, next we have Life of Chuck. This one's a critic's darling right now. I really want to see it. I did not see it, Pete. So I'm gonna let you
I
take this.
gotta be honest. Yeah, I started this movie only because I saw it was based on a Stephen King kind of short, not short
Yeah,
story, but a small novel. Um, and I started it, and the first 5 minutes of it, I turned it off, and I'm like, I don't know if I can deal with this because like I have no idea what's going on. Um, I forget the guy's name.
Tom
And
Hiddleston.
no, no, no. Tom Hiddleston is Chuck. He's the life. It's his life basically.
Yeah.
The other guy who plays the teacher, I'm gonna butcher his name.
Jacob Tremblay.
Oh,
Oh,
Chiwetel.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah, I've loved him since Serenity. Like he's one of my favorite actors that I can't pronounce his
Yeah.
name, but he's one of the best actors I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's
Um,
excellent.
And so this movie basically starts off in Act Three, and then later, and it goes to two, and then you get into Act One. And this movie is told in reverse time. However, it's done beautifully. So the beginning of the movie starts with basically everyone's seeing advertisements for this Chuck. It's like, thank you, Chuck. We appreciate you. Everyone loves you, blah, blah, blah. But the world's ending. And so the first third of the movie is we're getting ready for the world to end. And then later on, we get to experience what Chuck's life was, who's Tom Hiddleston, who does a phenomenal job. There's a there's a dance sequence in the middle of this film that is done so beautifully, and what they've done around that dance sequence, it has so much value. And then when you start to see his early life, and this is one of my favorite movies I think I've seen in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Um,
I really
it,
wanted to see it. I was
it's
disappointed I wasn't able to.
fantastic. Not only the story itself is phenomenal, but the way they put it together and the way they told the story was brilliant.
Yeah.
And who directed it? Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan, he did direct
Well done.
Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, which I did not
He's
appreciate.
actually done more horror type films, and obviously Doctor Sleep. Oh no, that's not Stephen King. Yeah,
Midnight
it is Stephen
Mass
King, isn't it?
and Haunting of Hill House. Those are two Netflix shows that my wife and I have been watching that are phenomenal. Um,
Is The Shining Stephen King?
The Shining is Stephen King.
Okay, so
Doctor
this
Sleep
Doctor
is
Sleep.
Stephen
Yeah,
King. Um, but obviously the sequel to The Shining.
yeah.
But yeah, no, this is an accomplished director. I mean, he did Haunted and Blind Manor as well. Gerald's Game, which is another Stephen King. So
Yeah,
this director seems to understand how to translate
yeah,
the incredible amount of detail in a Stephen King story and put it on screen and have it make sense because this movie it played out like a Stephen King novel, like Stand By Me did. Like Stand By
yeah,
Me felt like a Stephen King. The original It, that felt like it played out in the way that a Stephen King novel was written.
yeah,
He also did Oculus, which was one of the most fucked up like
yeah, yeah.
horror. This is a great director. This is a great film. This will be one of your favorite films of the year.
Awesome. All right, let's move on. Let's get through the rest of this.
Yeah,
Okay, we got next we have Echo Valley. It has a 6.3 IMDb ranking. This is on Apple TV Plus now. This stars Julianne Moore, Sydney Sweeney, and Domhnall Gleeson.
Mhm.
Directed by Michael Pierce. What is he? I don't really know any of his work. Encounter Beast. I've never really heard of these. But yeah, this is kind of like a thriller. I don't want to say it's definitely not a horror, but it's like a thriller, kind of like a, you know, kind of definitely
Uh,
like a
This is definitely a thriller drama.
like traumatic. Yeah, like yeah, like you have to get over the trauma and kind of a simple concept movie that I thought was just executed executed well. You got a lot of damaged characters that you don't really know if they're redeemable or not. And so it just kind of takes you through an interesting story. So I thought it was a decent watch. I don't think this was a perfect movie, but I thought it was executed for what it was. Apple TV has actually had a pretty high standard when it comes to movie. I thought this movie was good, but not its greatest movie.
It's not their best, but it's not awful either. Like
Yeah,
they tried to throw in some twists in the middle of this film, but then they abandoned that and went right into what they should have done from the onset, which was how do we how do we go after this evil character?
yeah,
And I thought that I think it was more this movie was really well laid out and it played out exactly how it was supposed to play out. Um, there's nothing edgy about it. There's nothing over the top about it. It's a nice story. It's a good watch if you have Apple because Apple really just never lets you down in terms of their content. But it's certainly nothing to scream from the rooftops.
yeah,
But it's good. I mean, it's fine.
yeah. So yeah, if you got Apple TV Plus, check it out. I think it's worth the watch.
Okay.
Next, we have Final Destination Bloodline. So, Final Destination. There's a ton of them. I don't even know how many off the top of my head. I've seen a couple
70.
of them, not all. But this has a 6.9 IMDb. But this kind of falls in line with a lot of the other Final Destinations, which is, how one thing kind of alters, the timeline, almost like a butterfly effect type of thing. And it's always like one little thing just like, viciously kills people. So this is, if you can handle a little gore and all that stuff, it's still kind of humorous though in a way, but it's still kind of visceral as well. Like I said, like, you know, people getting their arms cut off and things of that nature. So overall, I thought the movie was interesting. It's, ultimately this girl's trying to kind of, she's plagued by a recurring nightmare, and she returns home, and she's just trying to break the cycle and save her family. So I thought this movie was decent. Like I said, if you like the franchise, I think this movie, falls in line and does really well. Um, Again, you got to kind of like the gore and all that. If you like it, I think you'll like this movie. Again, it's a genre movie. I don't think this movie is going to be for everybody. But if you have that kind of appetite, I would say check it out. Ultimately I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. So
Right.
next we have
Deep
Deep
cover.
Cover. Next we have Deep Cover. That's on uh, Amazon Prime now. That stars Bryce Dallas Howard. That stars
Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom and Nick Muhammad, who I wasn't familiar with, and Sean.
No, he's this new kid. I mean, he may have been in some other stuff as well, but Sean Bean's in it for a tick. Ian McShane also is in
Oh,
this
he was in
movie.
The Martian.
He crushed in this movie, Ian McShane. He's so good. And then Patty Considine
Yeah,
is you know him. If you see a picture of him, you've
he was
seen
the
him.
lizard. He was the lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes. So
Yeah, go for it.
if I may, Um, I had this much expectation with this film when I turned it on and I started watching it. And then like I remember texting you halfway through, and I'm like, dude, I'm laughing. Like I was like literally laughing out loud. This movie is so sneaky good. It was fun. It was a great time. There's a ton of comedy. It's very action packed.
Yeah,
Certainly, it's unbelievable. The premise is ridiculous. Three improv actors. Orlando Bloom's character is trying to be a big time actor, but all he's been able to get is like commercial work or whatever. But he's like all super serious about his method, and
yeah,
he really nails that character. And this Muhammad guy, is so funny as the IT guy that ends up being, one of these undercover, deep cover agents. The story is perfect. The acting is amazing. I was laughing the whole way. It was the funnest time I think I've had all year with a film. This is
really.
easily in my top 10 of the year, just because of the fact that it came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
And I enjoyed every second of this movie. And they could do more of these movies if they were so inclined.
yeah.
It's fantastic.
I think I need to watch it again. And
It's
there's
so
definitely
fun.
parts I enjoyed. I love actually the police officers that are, because it's kind of those multi-layered, you
Oh, yeah,
but the two cops, I actually thought they were some of the funniest characters
they were funny.
because they're kind of like dim-witted cops too, like, or at least one of them is. The other,
One's serious, the one's like just trying to like take movie lines that he's heard in movies and like,
yeah,
oh, we never saw this one coming. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
little lines like that. And the other guy looks at him like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah,
this is real life. Can you stop this?
yeah.
It's a great movie. I loved it.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. I don't think I have it as high on my list as you do. I might need to see it again. I fell asleep during it too, which never helps because I watched it
Come
in the
on.
night. But yeah,
I absolutely enjoyed the heck out of this movie.
awesome. All right, and then last we have Mountainhead. I didn't finish this one. I started it, but go ahead and
So just real fast, like this is like, the four main characters, which is, Steve Carell, Jason Schwartzman, who, by the way, I just found out, like his mom is Talia Shire. Did you know that?
yes,
I didn't know that. I
yeah,
just found that out like the other day. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Um, And then Corey Michael Smith, and then I forget the other guy. He's a comedian, but he's Rami Youssef. He's a really good actor, but he's a comedian. He's super funny. So basically, these four guys are like the wealthiest guys in the world because of the tech that they've invented. And Steve Carell's character is dying of cancer, so he wants to have a merger happen between his other two people. But in order for that to happen, um, they need to sign a deal, and that's the only way that he's going to live on in AI in the computer space as, whatever it is. Like you put your existence into machines and you live on forever.
Yeah.
Uh, your physical body dies and then but you live on in the digital world. But the only way that's going to happen is this. And because of the technology that they've created, basically it's causing the world to go to shit. And there's riots everywhere, there's violence, there's overthrows of government, there's destruction everywhere, and they're up in this place called Mountain Head, up in Utah, up in the mountains, and they're just basically observing all this stuff on their phone while trying to work a deal. And it's not a great movie, but the four characters are the worst human beings that I think you could have ever imagined in your life, and they all perform them to perfection. Like you're literally watching four of the worst human beings ever making decisions that are going to basically either allow all of the rest of us simple folk to either live or to die. Um, and there is value in this movie. I would not skip this movie just because of the 5.4 or whatever
Yeah.
score I got on. I don't think that that's quite accurate. I think if you can understand what they're trying to say and if you can appreciate the performances, I think that you would enjoy this movie. I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but it's the same guy that wrote the Billions series, which is like one of my or
Yeah.
excuse me, Succession,
Oh, yeah.
which is like the best series outside of like The Sopranos. Um, so there is a lot of value in this movie. Just watch it for the performances because these guys are fucking assholes and they do a great job at portraying it
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I've seen so far. I got to get through it, but it's interesting. I
They're
think that's
so
the
bad.
best. It's interesting. It's not hyper entertaining. It's an interesting movie. Again, kind
No,
of thought
it's a slow
provoking.
burn.
Yeah. Slow burn, thought provoking.
Sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. We got two big guys coming next week. And spoiler alert, I've already seen both of them. But we got F1, the new film starring Brad Pitt, and this is directed by Joseph Kosinski of Top Gun Maverick fame. Go see this one in the theater, guys. The sound, the cinematography. It will be on Apple TV Plus eventually, but this is a theater movie,
Sure.
and definitely go see it. It'll be worth it.
I'll give a review of Elio. I'm watching that one from the latest from Pixar Disney.
Oh yeah, I never even said it though. Do you want to do
Yeah,
it?
we'll review it next week as well.
Yeah, well, let's just add Elo that way. I'll try and see that one too. And then Jurassic Park, I'm sorry, Jurassic World Rebirth. And I saw a sneak preview the same day that it came out in the New York premiere.
Uh,
It comes out in 2 weeks. It'll be July 2nd, it'll come out. And so I will say this. Slightly spoiler alert, this movie is going to be better than you think, guys. So I highly recommend.
Love it.
This one goes back to its roots, and so I just want to put some good news out there because I think this one's better than all the last three. It's probably the second best Jurassic Park. So
Wow.
so I'll go into deeper why I believe all that, but I'll go check this movie out when it comes out. Yeah. All right, people. That's going to wrap it up. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Help us grow. Please comment below if you disagree or you agree with us. Give your take on the same movies. We'd love to have some discourse on film. So, with that being said, that is a cut. Thanks, guys.